starting the show on?
I'm a big brand guy. Second Floor Sports. It's Monday. It's around 3 o'clock. That means we're on the air. If you're listening to us on IG Live, appreciate it. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Pods, Google Pods, Breaker, Anchor, wherever you listen to our podcast, appreciate it. I feel like Ben and I need to apologize because we said that.
What are we apologizing for?
We said this week, if we're putting it lightly, it was probably going to be a steamy pile of shit in the NFL.
Yeah.
Just about. I thought it was going to be that bad.
I mean, we titled Week 13 Snooze City.
Yeah. I don't know if it was supposed to be bad, but it wasn't supposed to be good. And what this week showed, this league don't miss. Like, it's always going to be fun. It don't miss, dude. Come on.
No, it misses.
Come on. Yeah, you're a Giants fan. You have to separate your fandom from
I guess the thing I wouldn't say the NFL doesn't miss. I would say they might know a thing or two more about scheduling than you and I do. Just going out on a whim there.
Yeah. All I'll say is this league, right?
Oh, whoa, slow down.
I know.
Slow down.
It's not even close to the NBA. We'll get to the NBA.
We'll get to the NBA at the end of the show.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got an hour here. A stone cold hour. Matias has got to be out of here at 4:45. We got to be in and out real quick. A game we actually highlighted as one of like the best games of the week turned out to be not quite the crazy game
what
I think
you would expect,
but a pretty good game. The Rams-Cards game. The Rams make a huge statement. Take this one 38-28. The Cards drop all the way to 6-6. They're out of the playoff picture now. And I feel like we always ask this question, Matias, but I'll hand this one to you. Bigger win for the Rams or worst loss for the Cards?
Bigger win for the Rams. And that's surprising to say. This is now 4 straight losses, I think, for the Cardinals. But for the Rams, we've always talked about their defense is legit. Their offense has weapons. Their ceiling is how well Jared Goff can play. Like that's how well they're going to play. And Jared Goff yesterday did not set the world on fire, even though his stats would indicate that he did. He was just incredibly efficient, spread the ball around, got it to all his weapons, went 37 of 47, 351 yards, and a touchdown. That's the perfect
way to say it. Like that stat line is nothing to like sneeze at or
that's a very good stat line.
Yards, a touchdown, no picks. Like that's golden for a quarterback.
That's an elite game manager right there.
It's an elite. Exactly. No, that is literally the best thing. He's an elite game manager. He's not doing anything special. He's not making any like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, like Russell Wilson, crazy, like, Sports Center top 10 type of throws. But I mean, we know Sean McVay is a tremendous coach, especially when it comes to creating like wide open throwing windows for Jared Goff in the run game. That must have been just a beautiful moment for McVay and the Rams coaching staff. Like, you execute, you come up with your game plan, Monday or Tuesday, you're figuring out what you're doing this week. And I mean, I don't know what their playbook looked like. I don't know what Sean McVay's call sheet was looking like on Sunday, but I've got to imagine that this game went pretty damn close to the way the Rams expected this game to go.
Yeah. I mean, if you're the Rams, you want to play someone in the NFC East, which is not really saying anything, in your own division. And then if you play someone else, like, God knows what's going to happen. Sean McVay is so good at scheming up a game plan when he's seen an opponent before, or if you're playing in the NFC East, that's not saying
much. Maybe not. Maybe there's an exception to that.
I mean, this is huge for the Rams. The Seahawks lost. Now the Rams are in sole possession of first.
Yep.
They're tied. I think they're tied with the Seahawks, I think, but they have the tiebreaker. With still one game to go between them.
Week 16 is going to be, that's going to be huge. Is that in Seattle? I guess it doesn't really matter. I think it's in LA. Just like, is that in Seattle or is that in LA? Like, if that's like home game for the Seahawks, like 12th man, that's huge. As if they're going to be fucking fans of the game. Yeah. I still have those moments where I just like forget like what's happening in the world.
Yeah. I had this moment the other day. I saw a picture from like 2017, 2018. And I was just like, why aren't they wearing a mask? And then I was like, right, this is not just something that has happened for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
As big of a win, I don't know if you agree with me or not on this being bigger for the Rams and the Cardinals, but regardless, this is very disappointing for the Cardinals too, which like, again, same problem. Kyler Murray did not run the ball that much. It looks like teams just know what they want to do on offense besides that one big touchdown to Arnold.
But that was literally just a busted coverage. Like,
busted coverage. After that, they hadn't scored until like, I don't know, midway through the third, I think it was. Something like that. Like, this is supposed to be an explosive offense. They didn't score in the second quarter. I think they only scored 7 points in the third.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
And then the Rams put up 21, including a pick 6 in the fourth.
Yeah. I don't know why. Maybe I don't know like what I was thinking happened in the second quarter. I don't know. Anyways, I agree. I think it's more important for the Rams here because the Cardinals realistically we're still only shooting at a wild card spot. I mean, none of these teams have a real like impressive schedule left in the season. Like if you look at the Rams, they've got the Pats and the Jets back to back, which are presumably both wins. I mean, I wouldn't put it past Bill Belichick to beat the Rams.
Yeah, it's classic. And, I mean, the Patriots can sneak into the playoffs. They can get there.
They're mathematically able to. Yes,
they're 6-6, Ben.
They're mathematically able to. Do you expect the Patriots to make the playoffs?
I don't know, but if the Bills lose tonight, they're a game and a half out.
Do you think the Bills are going to lose tonight?
It's very possible. I mean, Vegas seems to think they're going to.
We'll get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
To wrap up my point here, I think it's bigger for the Rams because we've seen these Cardinals, the way they're struggling right now is kind of the way it's like, if you thought about the Cardinals preseason, you kind of thought like, oh, like what could go wrong for them? Teams limiting Kyler Murray's ability to hurt them with his legs is kind of like the worst case scenario for the Arizona offense. And that's exactly what we've seen the last 3 weeks ago his shoulder got hurt.
Yeah, they lost last week to I don't know who, and then the Patriots the week before.
I think also realistically, the Cardinals have some time to play with here. Like the Cardinals are not expected to be I don't think anyone was expecting Kyler Murray to be an MVP candidate. You know, obviously I got a little overexcited with the whole Kyler Murray MVP talk, but he was
fair. Yeah,
he was smoking people those first 5-6 weeks. Then he got hurt, and now he's out running the ball as well. And there's a number of factors that I think explain why the Cardinals aren't playing as well as they were early in the season.
I mean, look,
this is a Rams. The point I was going to make here is the Rams have a lot of big time contracts on this team.
Yeah.
Like if the Rams were 6-6 right now, people would be talking about like who's getting fired, who's getting traded. Now the Rams are 8-4, right back into the division winner conversation, as they really should be. When you've got guys like Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald, literally just those two.
Yeah,
you're paying Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald their top contracts at their positions. You better hope you're 8-4 and in the conversation to win the division.
And I mean that it showed up in this game. Like Aaron Donald at one point chased Kyler Murray, like stayed with him going out of bounds, which is absurd. Like shouldn't happen. Jalen Ramsey,
like physics wise, like okay, I don't know what you got on the physics region. I got a 66.
Oh, I did better than that. I got like a 94. I think I'm nice, bro. I'm nice with it.
At physics?
Yeah, bro. I'm nice.
You got a 94 on the physics region.
I'm nice with him, man. My teacher was a nut. He was a very good teacher. Besides being like slightly racist, but that's for another time.
If I could just make one comment here, I don't know, like the high school I went to had like a pretty good like science program, which I was technically in. If you know me at all, you'd understand that that's kind of ridiculous. I had friends of mine who were like actually deserved to be in like the science program in my high school that were getting like 70s on the physics region. I'm so shocked. That physics region was one of the hardest tests
It was not easy, but I
remember going over it at the end and just like, you know, like you go back over an exam and you're just like, okay, yeah, like, you know, I remember doing this. Like, I'm pretty confident in these, but then there are some questions where you're like, all right, I have no fucking clue like what happened here. I'm just going to go with my first answer. That was like half the exam for me.
Well, like just to like, and I have my good friend James Sokol in the IG live right now. We went to high school together. Like he was in that class. He could testify to this. Like this man made us have like 4 binders. Like he was crazy, man. Like that was like peak 11th grade. Like, man, I hate school, trying to take SATs, like craziness. Like that was, it was crazy. But I mean, it fucking worked.
I can't believe you got 94 in the physics region. Wow. All right. I'm enough talking about New York State high school regions.
Just real quick to wrap up Rams Cardinals. Like you talk about those huge contracts, Jalen Ramsey, Aaron Donald lived up to it. We talked about
Jared
Ramsey
Goff
versus
on a big
Hopkins.
time. And you're paying Jared.
Yeah.
I've completely forgot. You're paying Jared Goff to
A lot.
be your like legit starting quarterback, probably more than he should be getting paid.
Yeah. Hopkins finishes 8 for 52. 13 targets, something like that. Like he did draw a huge pass interference on Ramsey.
And that's the best performance anyone's put up against Jalen Ramsey this
year.
year.
And like that's
clearly heard my comment at the beginning of the season about him not being like
a true shutdown
really corner. He's been locking people up all season long.
Yeah, he's really making you eat your words. Looking at the schedule coming up, you talk about Rams have Patriots, Jets, then Seattle, huge game, and then Arizona to finish off the season. Yeah. Wild. Arizona has the Giants, which will be a closer game. Philly, San Francisco, and the Rams. So neither of them have an easy schedule.
No.
Let's talk about what was the craziest game. One of the
most unexpected games. Yeah. One of the most unexpected results, I would say, just game script wise.
Yeah. The Browns beat the Titans 41-35. The important part about this, the Browns at one point were up 38-0.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Crazy. And then you look at the final score and you're like, oh my, wow. I talk about like, apart from the fact that the Browns scored 41 points, classic Browns game. Go up,
make it close.
Huge. No way that game should have been nearly this close. Like I get that a lot of it is the Browns like easing off the gas and kind of just like letting the clock run out. But how the hell do you let this become a 6-point game?
Well, I mean, look, I don't really put too much stock into that just because you're up by 38 at half. Like it is hard to play. It's hard to play ahead. It's hard to play from ahead. Like it's that much harder when you're up 38. I mean, look at the Cowboys Browns game. Like I was a lot more worried about that if I was a Browns fan. Or maybe it was 38. It was 38-7 at one point. It was close enough to 38-0. Like, I mean, I got to start this by saying, like, look, before this week, we said the Browns have one impressive win, and that's over the Colts. And that was a month and a half ago. The Browns need to do it again to show that they deserve to be 8-3 or 9-3. Here we are. The Browns show they deserve to be 8-3.
The Browns are going to have a winning season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was we were past that.
Well, no, like, they could have finished 500.
Oh, yeah, they could have. But like,
hey, would you rather have a winning season or 500?
A winning season?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You said we were past it.
Yeah, fair enough. A couple things to take away. First of all, Baker Mayfield. Like, this is one of his best games.
Probably his best game as a Brown. And it was.
He had 5 touchdowns, I think, against the Bengals. But again, that's the Bengals. Like, like that was the thing for me is that Baker Mayfield has played well this season, but they haven't been against really good teams. Even that Colts game, he played well, but I think he had 2 interceptions and they were like bad. They were like bad Baker Mayfield interceptions. This was like, he played fantastic. He had 4 touchdowns in the first half. He didn't make mistakes. He moved well in the pocket. Like, also, this Titans secondary is sus, bro.
Titans secondary is garbage. I don't know what changed so drastically for the Titans defense from last year to this year. I would love like a
Ryan.
That's one guy.
He's made a difference.
Is Logan Ryan a defensive player of the year though?
No. And I don't think that makes you go down like that.
That doesn't turn. The Titans last year were one of the best defenses in the league, and they won games like feeding the shit out of Derrick Henry. That's not the way
they do have some injuries.
Point being, the Titans defense took such a huge step back from last season, and it's hurting them. Like this Titans offense, led by Ryan Tannehill, is not built to score 40 plus and win you the game. They're trying to win low scoring games where they're controlling the clock, controlling the line of scrimmage.
And even like you say that, but like they can still win a game that they score 30. The problem is like you need Derrick Henry.
That's not what they're designed to be doing.
No, but you still need
the goal of their offense every week.
If you're gonna win a game that you have to score 30, like Derrick Henry has 100 plus yards at least on the ground. He had, I think, finished with 59. Had like -2 fantasy points for me like through the second quarter. I was like, what the fuck?
The last point on this Browns game, I mean, as encouraging as it is for Browns fans to see Baker Mayfield go and cook like this against the Titans, 2 things. One, Titans defense is just bad. Now I don't want to take anything away from Baker's performance, but he played really well against the bad defense. That's a lot better than playing really poorly against the bad defense, which we've seen Baker Mayfield do before.
Yeah.
But the second point here is, what's the difference between good Baker and bad Baker? And honestly, I don't quite know, but like, what changes between the Baker performances where he can't do a goddamn thing and is missing reads and is playing like so
I was going to say
haphazardly, I guess is the kind of the word that comes to mind, where it's like you watch replays of like the reads he misses, or the throws he decides to make and the throws he like decides not to make. And you're like, what the hell are you looking at? Like, what are you seeing from this defense? And like, there was the 80-yard bomb to Donovan Peoples-Jones was just a complete blown coverage.
Yeah.
He had 3 other touchdowns. Like, this is one of the best Baker performances of the season, of his career, arguably. I think it's just got to be a problem for the coaching staff, where you're like, well, what changes? Like, what did the coaching staff do to open up these windows for Baker? I'm not saying I know. Like, I don't know either. A real breakdown of this. Like, what's the difference between a good Baker game and a bad Baker game, stylistically, coaching wise?
That's the reason in the rundown, the last point I put on this game was this Baker makes every other Baker game infuriating that he doesn't do this, because he keeps showing what you can do. But the problem is like
we've seen a lot more bad Baker than we've seen good Baker this year.
Rookie year Baker Mayfield was good. And you're like, okay, there's some like rookie mistakes in here, easily clean up.
Yeah.
Second season, not good. Like, took a step back, did not improve on those. Third season, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. And like, he's still young, but like,
third season in the league.
Yeah. And there wasn't a shot that the Browns weren't going to pick up his 5th-year option.
No, obviously.
But games like this would like make you feel a little better about it. Something that we don't have an answer on is, I want to ask you this for not having OBJ, right? Because we talked about this when he went out. Like, are these Browns actually better without him? I still think the answer is no. But is that more of an indictment on OBJ, on Baker Mayfield, or on the coaching staff?
Well, I think there probably is something to be said for Odell's personality in the locker room. We're not in the locker room. I don't really know what Odell Beckham is like as a teammate, obviously. But I think when he's coming in with the top contract D-Hop got paid more than Odell, right?
Yeah, D-Hop's the top receiver.
D-Hop's the top contract now. When it was Odell, he's coming in, Odell Beckham got traded from the Giants, a whole circus around him. And, he voiced his frustration with kind of only being used as a decoy his first season in Cleveland, which is very fair. You shouldn't just be using Odell Beckham Jr. as a goddamn, send him 40 yards down the field every play and don't throw the ball his way. I've got to wonder if there's a little bit more of a, everybody eats mentality in that wide receiver room.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what we talked about. We were like, okay, you don't have that receiver. You have to force it to. I don't know who I put that on. I think OBJ is too good of a receiver for it to really be his fault, but there's a reason this is happening, right? Like,
it's the second year in a row that the Browns offense looks better when Odell's not on the field. It's weird.
It's kind of baffling. We'll move into our second tier. That first one was called good, period. It actually was good. No period. The second one should be fun, could be garbage. I think most of these, 2 of these games we haven't played yet, which should be starting, I think, in 30 minutes.
Yeah, 4:30 game on a Monday.
the games that haven't been played: Cowboys at Ravens. We talked about that last week. Bills at 49ers. Talked about that last week as well. Saints Falcons. We'll start there.
Yeah. This was surprising script of the game, in my opinion.
So let me tell you this. Taysom Hill with 2 passing touchdowns. If I'm not mistaken, those are his 2 first passing touchdowns in the NFL.
No.
You sure?
Pretty sure. I feel like he's thrown for touchdowns before, unless you're literally looking at the stat and making me look like an ass.
I'm not looking at it right now, but I know.
I think he's thrown touchdowns before on like weird gadget plays, like not this season. I'm pretty sure he's thrown touchdowns before.
Well, those were definitely his first touchdowns.
First 2 this season, yes.
Yeah. I mean,
I just don't get why the Falcons couldn't have any answers for him. They see him more than everybody. The Falcons have seen more Taysom Hill snaps than any other team in the league.
I'll tell you why.
Tell me why.
The Falcons defense isn't good.
Yes. Neither is Taysom Hill.
Yes,
as much as I love Taysom Hill as my fantasy tight end, he's not a good quarterback. He's a very good gadget player. And if you're a team like the Saints, or the coach like Sean Payton, who knows how to work him into a game plan and not just, not the way that Philly uses Jalen Hurts before they finally fucking benched Carson Wentz this past week.
Mm-hmm.
He's a very valuable piece to have. There's a reason he's not a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Also, I would like to bring this up. Taysom Hill 2018, 0 passing touchdowns. Taysom Hill 2019.
Cool. You're right.
0.
Congratulations.
I'm not saying it to rub it in your face. I'm saying it to
Are you sure about that?
Oh, I mean, I won't like pass up the opportunity, but like that's crazy, man. Like, yes, he's a gadget quarterback. Like those are his first 2 touchdowns. That's crazy.
There's a reason he's not a starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, he's proven that he is a gadget quarterback. He's not a starting quarterback, unless you have the perfect system around him and it maybe works for a year or 2.
Don't these people know to not call me when I'm doing the show? That's crazy.
I don't know, man. I mean, what I take away from this, and it's hard to really take anything away because it's like, look, Taysom Hill the first week played against a bad Falcons defense. They were dominating them the whole game, and he looked pretty good. The second week, they played against a good Broncos defense. It was a close game.
We're not even.
No, sorry, it wasn't about that. Yeah. But like, it's a good defense.
Wait.
Yeah, no, I don't know why I said it was a close game now. No, but like, look, it's a good Broncos defense, and Taysom Hill looked bad. Their offense, they blew him out, but like Taysom Hill looked bad. Third week, they play against the Falcons again. Again, still not a good defense, and he looks good. So I don't get that much more from this. They need Drew Brees back.
You say that, but if Taysom Hill is 3-0 as a starter in the NFL, which he is, then why do you rush a fucking 70-year-old Drew Brees back from his 11 rib fractures?
I phrased that wrong. What I meant to say was to contend or to even make it out of the first round. They need
the Saints are starting Taysom Hill in the playoffs. They've got issues.
Yeah.
But there's no reason to rush Drew Brees back. Let him sit the rest of the regular season. You're 10-2. You're about to clinch a first, or I don't know about to clinch a first round bye. They're probably about to clinch a playoff spot realistically.
No, they did this week.
Okay, so the Saints are in the playoffs. Obviously, you want to play for that first round bye because it's more valuable now because there's only one.
And because you'd rather have home field. That's the bigger thing is that, first round bye to give Drew Brees more time and then also home field because you don't want him playing outside.
Point being, if Taysom Hill is winning you games, you're 3-0. Mm-hmm. It might not be pretty, but you also know that you're a different offense with Drew Brees under center as opposed to Taysom Hill. Mm-hmm. I think the Saints have no reason to rush Drew Brees back. Well, clearly, it's not slowing him down. They're 3-0 and Taysom Hill is the starter.
Yeah, I misspoke when I said rush him back. What I will say is, and we talked about this last week. There's no point in rehashing it because we don't have any more like data to lead us like to a definitive answer. Mm-hmm. At what point do you rush Drew Brees back if you don't get a first round bye, or like what percentage would you have him play at? Like if Drew Brees is at 70%, do you have him play in the first round? Probably.
Yeah. Taysom Hill's once you're in the playoffs, you got to play. If Drew Brees can play, you got to play him.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the Saints schedule the rest of the way. They got the Eagles next week. That presumably is a big time win. Chiefs Saints could be huge, but also it could kind of be not that it's a meaningless game. It's a game you want to win, but it has no implication on it doesn't have any direct implication on who's getting the first round bye because we're talking about the NFC and the AFC.
It won't help if they lose, but
it won't help if they lose. But you might not be looking to rush Drew Brees back in a game where you're going to be playing.
That's the type of game. Yeah, that's the kind of game. If Drew Brees is at less than 75, honestly, less than 100%, you don't bring him back.
And then you close the year with the Vikings and the Panthers. Maybe week 17 you get Brees in there for like a quarter just to kind of get him back in. Assuming he hasn't played by then. And again, this is speculation. We don't really know. Point being, they're 3-0 with Taysom Hill as a starter. It's not slowing them down. They have all the time in the world. They have 4 more weeks to figure out what Drew Brees' status is for the playoffs. Yeah. Again, if he's not playing in the playoffs, they've got fucking issues. But we won't know that until we get there.
Last game in this
teams with issues.
Speaking of team with special teams issues, holy shit! The Patriots. What word do you want to use here? Shellacking, doo-doo on, blowout, curb stomp.
All of the above.
Like take a 2x4 to the face too. Like,
and look, we made plenty of jokes about how we're probably not going to see this game on Red Zone at all. I saw the return touchdown on Red Zone. I saw the punt return and the return, like the blocked kick. Mm-hmm. I don't think I saw any other like plays.
They didn't show
from
anything
this
else
game on
because
Red
I mean,
Zone.
I had
You were watching it, obviously.
I had a split screen. I had the Patriots game like bigger, and then I had red zone on the side, and then I eventually just switched permanently to Rams cards.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. I mean, like, go up and down on the Chargers. Like, their defense was on the field for too long, and they didn't put up a fight.
And there's nothing the Chargers did well in this game.
Yeah.
Like
Herbert looked bad. He had 2 bad interceptions. The second one was just like shit was kind of.
Once you're down, what was the score when the second pick?
The second one was, when was it? They were down 30 plus.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
the first one was not good. First one he threw across his body and a D end picked him off. Like, not good.
I didn't even see that happen.
The big thing for them was their special teams. They had, so I'll read this to you. On five punts,
you can't make this up.
On 5 punts, 3 times they did not have either enough or they had too many players on the field. They had 10 men on the field twice, and then they had 12 men on the field for another one. And that one didn't even turn into a punt. You know why? Because that gave the Patriots a first down.
I just how?
Bad coaching. That's how.
Bad coaching, but like not even.
Bad coaching, and it's just players being unaware.
It's just like there's no amount of like you could put together a fucking coaching staff with like Bill Belichick, Nick Saban, Bill Parcells.
See, I disagree.
The best coaching staff in the world, and if you can't get your players to get the right amount of guys on the field, like that's how.
Well, like, are you saying that's on Anthony Lynn, or at that point it's not even on him?
I'm saying it's not even on Anthony Lynn. You should have to fucking coach your players into getting 11 guys on the field.
Okay, fair.
Like,
but
you can't get if your players can't take it amongst themselves to line 11 of them up on a punt return, it's not even a complex play. It's a punt return.
No, you're right. But
get the right amount of guys on the field. You need a coaching staff to tell you that.
Well, okay. Also, we
can get the right amount of guys on the field for flag football.
Barely,
but we did.
The Chargers going into that game led the league in special teams penalties with 16. Right. So this has been a trend for them, and it's not just this year. This has been a trend for them for the last 10 years, or at least as long as I can remember. Like, this is bad special teams play. This is bad coaching on them. Like, Anthony Lynn has to be gone, bro. Like, for Justin Herbert's sake. Like,
just for literally just for time management reasons alone, you should fire him.
Yeah.
Because clearly he has no clue how or when to use his timeouts.
I have nothing to back this up, but I would love Eric Bieniemy going there and working with a young, talented quarterback.
That'd be awesome. Well, I've got to imagine he's going to sign somewhere as a head coach this offseason.
Well, it's almost like he should have been a head coach already.
I think there's probably a part of him that wanted to stay in Kansas City and continue to be successful with.
He didn't get interviews, really.
Yeah, he did.
He got a couple, but he did not get that many.
I wonder if again, just kind of speculating. I wonder if he wanted to have another year in Kansas City
or to Houston, right?
That'd be something.
That would be cool. That'd be fun. Houston's got some other things to figure out.
Houston's got a whole fucking load of issues.
You done? We ready to move on to the next one? Patriots are 6-6. They are not mathematically out of it. They weren't last week. They're 2 games behind the Dolphins.
Where are they making it? Let's run through it. Where are they making up those 2 games? Who do they beat? I'm pulling up the schedule right now.
Okay, pull them up. Bring them out.
Rams, Dolphins, Bills, Jets. I think that's 1 win.
Rams, Dolphins, Bills, Jets.
In that order.
You're telling me, okay, the Dolphins they'll probably split that just because they beat them the first time. I can very easily see them splitting against the Bills. The Patriots were supposed to win that game, but they fumbled in their own 20. Like, but that's still winnable. You can't
play this game with a game that's already happened.
No, but also
it was a winnable game, but they didn't win.
You said it. Okay, but it being a winnable game the first time means that it's probably still going to be a winnable game the second time, right?
Sure. Like, I just want to say I love hearing you try to talk yourself into the Pats making the playoffs.
I'm talking you into the fact that, like, okay,
You're talking yourself into the Pats making the playoffs.
I know, but I did that yesterday. Like,
this is a Thursday night Rams game too.
Things have to break right for the Patriots, but they are
including the Patriots like winning games. The Pats have to win games and get help.
Yes. Look, the game against the Rams, you said it yourself, right? Like that is the classic, like Jared Goff just played well, coming off a big win. Belichick's like, well, fuck you. Like, you're not going to be able to throw it more than 5 yards down the field. And he was like, okay, fine.
I also don't think Sean McVay is going to let Belichick use the exact same shit he used on him last time to work.
I don't know, man. That's the kind of shit that usually happens. You're talking about voodoo. You're talking about voodoo with Belichick.
Pats aren't making the playoffs, Matias. The sooner you accept that, the more you're going to enjoy the next 4 weeks of this NFL season.
I've at least transitioned from the Patriots are very mediocre. They should probably try to lose games while also seeing what they have into shit. If we're this close, like, let's just go for it type of thing.
Sure. Really, you think? All right, I want an answer.
Okay.
Here. You think they beat the Rams and the Bills? You think they beat the Rams, Bills, and Jets? Obviously, you beat the Jets. You think you go 3-1 in these last 4? You're beating the Jets. There's one. You think you beat the Rams, Bills, and Dolphins?
No, I think
that's what you're telling me.
Like best case scenario, you go 3-1.
I'm saying, what do you think is going to happen?
They probably go 2-2 in those games.
So what 2 do you beat? The Rams and the Bills, and lose to the Dolphins, or the Rams and the? Wait, I'm confusing myself.
No, you're confusing yourself.
You're beating the Jets.
Jets. Say they beat the Jets. It's also possible they lose to the Jets. It's week 17. Like
that would be hysterical.
That would be
if the Jets have locked up the number 1 pick by week 17, you're losing to the Jets.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They won't have it locked up.
If the Jags win another game, they will.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's a big if.
The Jags have been a lot closer to winning games than the Jets have.
Not after this week. Kind of. Like it was OT. Yeah.
Whatever.
Anyway, let's talk about the Jets because we're here. We don't have to talk about them that much.
Dude, hats off to Gregg Williams. I have nothing but respect for that man. Let me just lead with that.
He got fired today, which is fair.
Oh, I know. He got fired for doing his job, which is the fucked up thing.
Yeah.
You think they didn't tell him to blow that game?
Absolutely.
Absolutely, they told him to blow that game.
And I also want to think they did, because if they didn't tell him to blow that game, and this is not new, like we didn't just learn this week, but he should not have a job. Like he's not good at his job. They don't have a good secondary.
And I wonder who the last defensive coordinator for an 0-16 team was. It was Gregg Williams. That's crazy.
Right? Like
the best part is then Gregg Williams became the interim coach for when Hugh Jackson got fired.
Yeah. God. What a funny just like carousel, huh?
It's just like
I love when bad coaches
get Jets could realistically call this type of play with any intentions of winning the game.
Well, this was unprecedented. Like this was
That's what I'm saying. It is literally has never happened in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, since 2002. ESPN literally has the stats for any of you that haven't seen it. It's less than 15 seconds, I think, trailing by at least one score. It's
basically in the situation where you literally
a Hail Mary is the only thing. Yeah. They are the only team. I think there have been like 200 something instances. Gregg Williams was the only coach to ever send 6+ on a blitz.
Yeah.
You have like an all-pro secondary. Go right ahead, Todd Bowles. Go fucking just like
not even though. If you
like that's a classic.
If you want to win it makes sense to send heat because you don't want to just give the quarterback all day long to throw the hell there.
6+.
They sent 8. It was 3 guys across the top of the field.
Oh my god.
Like there's no way. We make a lot of jokes about like tinfoil hat, conspiracy theories on this show. I wholeheartedly believe the Jets made this play call with the intention of losing the game.
Like Gregg Williams deserves to be in the Jets Ring of Honor if they get Trevor Lawrence.
You know who they lined up across from Lamar Jackson from Henry Ruggs?
Who?
Lamar Jackson, the cornerback.
Oh yeah, Lamar Jackson. and then he was the one that had to come out and answer questions. He was the one that had to come out and answer questions. They were gonna say like Buster Screen or something. I don't even know.
No, it was Lamar Jackson. There was a great thing on the Ringer. It was talking about They're making a joke about like lining up Lamar. There's basically saying that like you might as well have lined up like the Ravens Lamar Jackson against them, and like that Lamar's faster than Jets Lamar, and maybe you had a shot then.
I mean, look, like
all you got to do is and like it, we're still talking about the Jets. I don't even know why.
Also, like, how do you bite on that stop and go? Come on, man.
Why are you in
also why are you in that position? Yeah, you shouldn't have been in that position.
Exactly.
Anyway, the Raiders at this point have almost beat the Chiefs once, almost beat them a second time, and should have lost to the Jets. So that makes a lot of sense.
And we've been saying all season long, all year long, that the Raiders are a mediocre to good team who doesn't play consistently.
Yeah. Speaking of mediocre to good team, the Vikings now at 6-6 after beating.
Putting the Vikings and the Raiders in the same category?
No. I'd say the Vikings are a little lower than them, but they're 6. I mean, the Raiders are only one game ahead of them. They're a half game ahead of them in the standings. Like, that's not that much of a difference.
I mean, different conferences, but
they beat the Jags 27-24 in OT. Conversation starts and ends with Justin Jefferson, who is a fucking stud. 61 catches, 1,039 yards now this season, 7 touchdowns. I think first Vikings receiver to do that.
Since Randy Moss.
Randy Moss's rookie season. Went for 121 and a touchdown yesterday. The Jags are bad. I mean, the Jags are bad, but like he's fucking good, man. Like
Justin Jefferson is the truth, and it's like, you know, one thing that frustrates me with when some of these like, you know, non like top 5 picks like turn into studs, like, oh, look at all the teams that missed on him. It's like that happens every year, guys. Like
also people knew Justin Jefferson was gonna be good. It's just like, do we really want to take them at like 20 something? The Vikings had a lot of picks and they needed to fill wide receiver 2, like
exactly, or
maybe wide receiver 1. Like
he might be better. I don't fucking know. We're not having.
I don't think so. But you got anything else on this game?
And the Vikings just. I feel bad for the Vikings, honestly, because like they're in such a
fans
weird,
or the Vikings,
both, honestly, because they're in such a weird position where it's kind of like you're too good to tear it all down, but you're not there, and like you don't really have any clear way to get there, barring Kirk Cousins like all of a sudden playing up to his contract, which I don't really anticipate anytime soon, or Dalvin Cook rushing for like 3,000 yards in a season.
That's the thing. Like they get 1 or 2 more solid pieces on defense, which is doable. Like, and you keep everyone there. That's getting you another 2, maybe 3 wins.
So that's like, how much better are they getting? Because you know, are you drafting these guys defensively, or are you going to pay them? You're paying Kirk Cousins. You're going to be Dalvin Cook is on a deal right now, or not yet?
No, not yet. Well, they didn't. Did he sign one in the preseason? I don't think so. And like the tough part with that is that like Justin Jefferson might be very good next year, but like a sophomore slump is a very real thing. Like
Dalvin Cook's on a deal. All right, so you got Dalvin Cook locked.
So did he sign one in the preseason then? I didn't remember.
Let me close.
I think it was like a 5-year then, maybe.
I think he signed an extension.
Okay.
Whatever it is, he's under contract. I was gonna say I thought they might have had to pay Dalvin Cook, but he's locked up.
Yeah.
It's just where do you go? Where do you go if you're the Dolphins or if you're the Vikings? I don't think they have any clear.
Yeah, they're really just right smack in the middle.
You got to hope for internal improvement, basically.
Yeah.
Which I mean, bet on your coaching staff, bet on your trainers. Like, hope that you can get better from within without having to shell out big time contracts.
You were just teeing me up for this transition. Speaking of good coaching staffs, Dolphins and Bengals. Bengals.
Is that Alfred Morris?
No. Also, Alfred Morris, I think this week had his first receiving touchdown. He's been in the league since 2012. He is
also has been out of the league for 3 years, but
okay, that's still 5 years.
Not what we're here to talk about.
He was the lead back for a whole 2 years. Anyway, Dolphins improved to 8-4 with an ugly 19-7 win over the Bengals.
Realistically, that's the type of game the Dolphins win this year. Yeah. Like
Tua played well, had over 300 yards. Didn't have to do that much, but he had I think 150 of those yards in the third quarter, which put them ahead. The big thing for this is all the ejections. Like looking at who got ejected from each side, honestly, like the Dolphins lost their best defender in Xavier Howard.
Yes.
But if you look at it on the other side, like the Bengals lost Tyler Boyd, which is really the only person you have to worry about on offense, really. And T. Higgins.
I was about to say T. Higgins is kind of a dog, and like AJ Green's still there.
He's still there, but like,
hey, I started him in fantasy this year.
But I mean, you have a backup quarterback. Like, how much you really have to worry about it.
I just like, is there some like Bengals Dolphins beef that like no one realized?
There might be. I don't know.
It's just like such a weird. That was
a dirty hit, dude.
A dirty hit, like such a weird game for two guys to get ejected for like fighting with each other.
We put it in the tier of Christ, who made this schedule? And like the thing is, like Colts Texans, like even if that wasn't a good game, that's a division like rivalry, right? Like Jaguars Vikings.
That's an understandable game for there to be some beef with some guys. You know, you get Bengals.
This Dolphins. Is so random. Like,
yeah.
Flores, your coach of the year?
I know I'm so bad at predicting coach of the year. Like if he literally takes the Dolphins to the playoffs, I'd consider it. I think you're gonna have to consider Kevin Stefanski for coach of the year.
Yeah.
Depending on what the Giants do the rest of the season, I think Joe Judge is going to get some consideration for coach of the year. If the Giants, like, I'll get to the Giants in a minute. If the Giants win out, which I think is a lot more realistic than it was 2 weeks ago.
Still not realistic.
But let's say the Giants finish 500 this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're 5-2 in their last 7.
Yeah. 5-1 in their last 6, I think.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, that sounds better for you.
Point being, I think Joe Judge has got to be in that conversation as well.
Yeah.
But yes. Just the way that this Giants team was literally dead the first 5 weeks of the year. They had fucking nothing.
For that, it just really depends on what record, because the Giants are the presumptive favorite to make the playoffs. They probably will. It just depends what record, because if they make it in with 5 or 6 wins, then people are like, oh, Joe Judge brought them to the playoffs.
Do we want to just talk about the Giants now if we're already here? Run through these games and we'll get into the Giants.
I'd say right now, coach of the year favorite, probably Brian Flores. I loved him getting off.
I'm not even going to call it. I could not tell you.
Yeah, I did like he got off the bench fighting for his guys. That was
good. Yeah,
that was good. That was a dirty ass hit. Colts Texans turned out to be a really good game. Colts barely win 26-20. I just feel bad for Deshaun Watson, man. Like,
get him Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah, get him someone, man.
Well, they need defensive help more than anything. If Will Fuller's back, Will Fuller's a free agent. If they bring Will Fuller back, he was looking like a number 1 wide receiver. You get him a little bit of help. I mean, you get a defense that's not fucking dog shit. Like,
who are the receivers now? Because they let go of Kenny Stills. They have Brandon Cooks and Kiki Kuti. I think that's it.
Randall Cobb. Don't you dare forget Randall Cobb.
I would never. This is something I hate to admit, but the Packers were my Madden 2010 for the Wii franchise team. Just because they had like Donald Driver, Greg Jennings,
oh my God,
Randall Cobb. Like they had some fucking dogs, like Tremont
Williams.
Yeah, on defense. They had Sam Shields, like that team. Oh, that was a fun.
I love a little 2010 Packers action. I got you.
Love a nice sports game for the Wii.
Said literally no one ever.
The big thing for this, the Colts now in first place over the Titans in the division. Like, there's a big opportunity for the Titans to jump out because they have the tiebreaker ?
I have no idea
right now. They split their matchups, but I think they have a better record in division. Last game on here, Lions Bears. Both of them now 5-7 after the Lions win 34-30. I told you, man, like I didn't watch too much of this game.
I'm not going to lie. You wrote, I told you on the rundown. I have no clue what you're talking about here.
Okay. So no, and it's not that you disagreed with me, but last week I told you, I was like, the Lions are going to win this game. And for one reason and one reason only. It's that Matt Patricia's not there. Like you saw it with the Texans when they fired a head coach that everyone hated and everyone thought was a fucking idiot. And they won the week after. It was against the Jaguars, but they won the week after. The Lions this week come against a bad Bears team. Mitch Trubisky confirmed bad. Like they fumble, they strip sack him at like his own 20 or something like that with the lead. Like this was a Lions team. I was watching very little of it. I watched the end of it. I had it on Red Zone. Other than that, and like the commentators were saying the same thing. They were like, look, I don't know if this is the reason why, but like everyone seems like they're having fun on the Lions sideline. And that is not something you could have said.
I mean, it's very like if the Lions, if you believe that there was so much discontent with the Lions locker room and Matt Patricia, then it makes all the sense in the world that they're thrilled to not be playing for this guy anymore and want to go out and win a
The
game.
Mimosa story is just like.
And you could also very easily make the point that they were playing the Bears.
Also true.
Now
The Bears
lost
have now lost
straight.
6 straight. Oh man, you want to talk about a team like that? That's a team that like maybe should be like contending for like making it. No, not contending. Contending to make the playoffs. That like, should be a team that's fighting for a playoff spot. Should be talent wise. Should be fighting for a playoff spot.
I think realistically, if you look roster wise, they're probably the third best team, and it's like obviously the Packers at the top, but they're like
huge gap.
Packers at the top. Detroit's probably at the bottom. I think you could make a case that Chicago and Minnesota are both kind of, neither one of them is clearly better than the other.
I'd probably take the Vikings roster over.
If for no other reason, then I think they have the better like top tier players.
Yeah.
Anyway,
who cares? Ben, take it away.
Let's talk about these New York fucking Giants, baby. Ooh. Oh my God.
Damn.
Look,
go ahead, bro.
I spent so much time bashing the Giants because admittedly, and I will stand by this, beating NFC East teams is not impressive. Like it is the furthest thing from impressive. We're the worst division in the league. I had been saying for good reason that the Giants hadn't done anything impressive in this, their little 3-game spurt where they beat Philly, Washington, and Cincinnati in 3 straight weeks. Like those are 3 of the worst teams in the league.
And Cincinnati with Brandon Allen there.
Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. Exactly. Like 3 terrible teams we beat. And I was starting to say last week, maybe the Giants are a well-coached bad team. And I'm going to stand by that. Yeah. I'm going to stand by that.
Your defense is not bad, though. You're very pesky.
Our defense is really good. We just shut down Seattle.
Very pesky defense.
More than pesky. I mean, Seattle's one of the best, most diverse offenses in the league. Look at their weapons. You got Russ, obviously. You got DK Metcalf. You got Tyler Lockett. You got Chris Carson. Just the 3 of those guys, Carson, Lockett, and Metcalf, as good a trio as you're going to find in the NFL today. I mean,
Metcalf Lockett should be a top 10 wide receiver like duo. It is.
It is. It's a top 5.
Not based on anything that I have information wise. Yes.
Off the top of your head, name me an offense with 2 better wide receivers.
Julio and Calvin Ridley.
There's one. I throw Juju and Chase Claypool in there. That's 2.
Oh, I don't know, man. No, fuck no. Juju's
right
garbage.
Now.
Oh, no.
Point being, what teams would DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett not realistically be like a number 1 option on?
Not much.
That's what point being, I don't know why you're trying to argue with me on this. This is a great offense. The Seahawks offense is really fucking good.
Yeah.
They just got held to 10 points.
Yeah. 12?
They literally just got held to 10 points. 2 were safety. Seahawks offense put up 10 points.
Yeah. Man, this is crazy, man.
Is one of the best defensive performances I've seen from any team all season long. Realistically,
suffice to say, you're happy with this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, if the Giants are gonna back their way into winning the division,
might as well be good.
I'd rather look good doing it. We go 8-8, realistically 7-9, still an option too. At least if we're gonna make the playoffs, I'd rather us look good making the playoffs than look bad. There's no erasing the 0-5 start, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I think a lot of people misinterpret me saying the Giants are bad as me not rooting for the Giants.
Mm-hmm. I'm
a Giants fan, the same way I'm a Knicks fan. And what that means a lot of the time is rooting for high draft picks because these teams fucking suck. And it makes my life a living hell to go through. It'd be like if the same with the Knicks. Let's say the Knicks somehow were, if it worked in basketball where a team could win the division and get an automatic playoff berth, and the Knicks beat a division of the Knicks were the best of the non-East playoff teams, which are all fucking garbage. There's nothing encouraging about going 6-10 and making the playoffs. That's not good. But if someone's got to win the NFC East, and if it's going to be the Giants, I'd prefer the Giants look good doing it.
Now, let me ask you this. Is there a worse case scenario than the Giants being just barely impressive enough to make the playoffs, but Daniel Jones not being there?
Well, they don't have to be impressive to make the playoffs. They just have to win the NFC.
That's true. I think it's very fair to say that you are now rooting for the Giants to make the playoffs.
Well, especially after I guess it depends what Washington does tonight. If it's still looking like someone else could win the division, then who knows where I'll be at.
Mm-hmm.
If Washington loses tonight and the Giants open up a 2-game lead on the division,
You're fine
then
with it.
yeah, I'll be rooting for the Giants to win out. Honestly,
That's very fair.
let me pull up the schedule here.
You have the Cardinals. Yeah, the Cardinals this coming week.
All right, we got Arizona coming up, then Cleveland, then Baltimore, then Dallas.
So you should, like, best case scenario, you go 2-2 in those games.
I think, look, it depends on what Baltimore does. Baltimore is not playing well at all. They're just not. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. But look, that's also going to be.
We're talking best case. We're talking best case.
Oh, okay. Well, best case when we were talking about the Patriots, they go 4-0 those games, right? Like best case for any team is going 4-0.
Okay. I think
realistically, what do you think is going to happen?
Realistically, we can lose all 4 of these games. The Giants are still not good. We're still like, let me get that perfectly clear. The Giants are not good. The defense is really good. That was the first time a team has won a game. The Giants have won a game in the NFL with under 100 passing yards since 2007. Interesting year to have done that. I'm just saying.
Well, as a team, as a fan of a team who consistently or somewhat consistently wins games with under 100 passing yards or under 75 passing yards, I got to tell you what, it's pretty fucking weird win to root for. But
like there's still so many issues with it. Like we still need so much help. I mean, the O-line, for what it's worth, has put it together. They've got 4 straight games with 140 plus yards on the ground. That's impressive. Mm-hmm. And like the thing I keep coming back to here, I was talking about this with my dad earlier. 5-2 in your last 7.
This is not look good for you. McCoy had 103 yards through the air.
103, whatever the stat was. Point being,
your quarterback out over 100 yards passing could never be me. I don't know.
Literally could never be you. 7 games is not an insignificant sample size. Yeah. That's almost half the season. Yeah. Like I really think it's what I've been saying about maybe the Giants are a well-coached bad team. And that's why I'm saying maybe Joe Judge gets some consideration for coach of the year. If the Giants finish 500 after starting 0-5, mm-hmm. That's big.
Yeah.
That's really big.
Real quick, talk about Seattle.
Last point here about the Giants. You know, you'll talk about playoff teams going into the playoffs. Like, oh, they finished the year 5-2. Like they're playing their best football end of the year. 5-2 is a really good stretch. That's enough of a sample size for me to be like, all right, the Giants. Yeah. At least there's like something to latch on to.
Yeah,
there's an identity here. It's that they're really good defensively. I've been saying, they might be good. They are good. You just held Seattle at 10 offensive points. Like that is a tremendous performance against one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah. All I'll say is if you're just on the Giants point, then real quick, we'll talk about Seattle. Like if you're going to laugh at me for saying that Bills, Rams, and Dolphins, like those aren't winnable, and then you think the Giants, like realistically could beat a Ravens team that's going to be contending for the playoffs, or you think will be.
The Ravens aren't in the playoffs. Ravens aren't in the playoffs.
Yes, well, that's what I'm saying. More the reason for them to play tough. Like they got to win to make the playoffs. If you had told me before the season the Ravens had to beat the Giants in week like 14 or whatever it was to make the playoffs, like, anyway, you like for Seattle, like concerned? Yeah.
Yes and no. If you're Seattle, you look at your team and you're like, all right, we've still got Russell Wilson, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson. Defense is improving, which is still not good, but considering they were like one of the worst defenses in league history the first 8 weeks of the year, they've turned it around. At least, they've gone from like the worst in the league history to like not good.
I think they're like the 25th scoring defense in the league now. Like they're like
they were on. I forget what week we were talking about this.
It's like Peyton Manning numbers, right?
They were on pace. Their passing defense was on pace to allow opposing quarterbacks to complete passes at the same rate Peyton Manning did his last year in Denver, or not his last year, the year in Denver where they set fucking every offensive record in the book.
Yeah, Russell Wilson I think is not done, but he's basically done in the MVP votes.
Oh, I thought you were. I thought you were saying like Russell is washed. I'm like, excuse me?
Russell wasn't washed. The thing about that Seattle defense, and then we'll move on to the last 2 games we have. Like they're bad, but like the thing with yesterday is that this is a defense that looks better if you're playing from ahead, which most defenses do. But like, this is a defense like you needed them to get a stop.
They need Russ to put up more than 10 points.
You need
too bad they're playing the best defense in the league. That's crazy.
Okay. Anyway, Broncos Chiefs. I don't have that much to say on it besides the Chiefs are very good. Drew Lock is not very good.
Actually, Josh did bring up a really interesting point about Russell Wilson in the comments.
He's raising Future's son.
He's raising Future's child.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pressure to put on a guy.
Anyways,
you want to raise Future's child?
I don't think I'm going to be put in that situation. For the Chiefs, I think as long as you don't play a division rival in the playoffs, you're probably good. Fair to say, like they struggled for the most part against the Broncos.
The Chiefs can put this thing the Chiefs can play the regular season on cruise control. They really can. I think it's interesting that they struggle against some divisional opponents. Mm-hmm. And I was looking at their schedule beforehand. Like their 3 closest games are all against AFC West opponents. Mm-hmm. How much do you really want to make about that? I don't think it's a story.
Last game that we didn't actually put on our rundown because we forgot. It was on there at first. I think we might have deleted it by accident. Eagles Packers. Anything like not much to talk about besides does Jalen Hurts start for the rest of the season?
We've been saying for a good 2 or 3 weeks now. I feel like we've been mentioning why is Carson Wentz still starting? Mm-hmm. It's beyond explanation at this point. It's either I did it again. I've been mixing up the Seahawks and the Eagles all day today.
I mean, they played last week, but
I don't know what my deal is with that. There's no logical explanation for Carson Wentz still starting, at least as best as I can see. Mm-hmm. I saw one thing from the Ringer today that he was on pace to lead the NFL or lead quarterbacks in the triple frown. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's leading the league in sacks, interceptions, and fumbles as a quarterback. He's on pace to lead the league in the triple frown. And now if Carson Wentz loses his job, he probably won't. Maybe that's why the Eagles keep starting him. So you can get him that it's like the Sacco, you know?
Oh, the Sacco. The elusive triple frown.
Exactly.
It's hard once you take the genie out. That's the thing. Once you take the genie out of the bottle, once you start Hurts, it's hard to go back to Wentz. But the thing is, Wentz's contract is so unmovable with an asterisk because who knows? But I don't know. It's hard. Carson Wentz probably gives you your best chance to win over the next 2 years. And that's saying something. But there's
based on what? That's nothing. Based on what?
And that's based on I need to see more from Jalen Hurts first.
But you might as well see what you have.
That's what I'm saying. I agree that you start him. It's just hard because that contract is so unmovable on Wentz.
You can bench him.
So brutal.
You can bench him.
Yeah, you can. And that's what
you should
do. I mean, who knows? Maybe Jalen Hurts plays well enough that you can get I don't know. You get
he had more yards. He had more yards per attempt on fewer completions.
And the receivers just look better when he's out there.
We say this every single week. There's nothing that Carson Wentz has done in the last 2 years to convince you that he deserves another shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, fair. Let's just get to our bets real quick. Ben, 3-0 this week. Nice.
Yes,
hit on Colts -3.5. I hit on that one as well. You got
Green Bay. Stole it from me, but whatever.
Okay. Green Bay -8.5, Browns +5.5, which on the
Browns
first
5.5 was the one I was most confident in. The fact that
the most,
honestly, yeah.
Even without Denzel Ward,
even without Denzel Ward, 5.5. I thought that game was gonna be 2017, a real low score, literally less than a field goal. I saw fucking 6 points, absolutely.
That's an easy cash for you.
I know it was. It's so easy to talk about how confident I am in my bets when I go
after them. Colts -3.5 hit for me, and then I have Buffalo +1 tonight. I think that's up to 2. I'm getting really nervous. I'm getting nervous, man.
Really?
And then Pittsburgh -7. We're not going to go through our power rankings, but real quick, we had Chiefs, Steelers, and Packers. Chiefs, Steelers, Packers, and Saints are top 4. All that worked well. You had Seattle at 5. That did not work well. And I had the Titans at 5. Also did not work well. It's almost like we had this conversation last week and we said, who the fuck knows who's at 5?
Exactly.
James
James Harden.
Things. Yeah. James fucking Harden.
Switching
what the
gears
hell is
here.
going on? This man is partying with Lil Baby when everyone is reporting back to their camps. So he is missing NBA training camp to party with Lil Baby, which
Do you want to say it or do you want me to say it?
I'll finish my point and then you say, because I don't know what you're going to say.
All right.
In a regular season, this is bad. In 2020, when you know you have to quarantine for longer because you're probably coming from a high exposure place, apart from just coming from public.
You think a club in Vegas is a possible high exposure COVID
I think
site?
James Harden flipping ones in the air is high exposure, Ben, at fucking Lil Baby's party, which was probably lit as hell.
Probably sick.
He probably takes the crown over Lou Will partying with Jack Harlow now.
I don't know.
For dumbest NBA party.
I think Jack Harlow has more NBA related clout than Lil Baby does.
Oh, I don't know, dude. You talking about Lil Baby?
We're talking about the important things here. Well, my comment that I was going to say when I was asking if you wanted to say it or if I should. This league is my point.
Yeah, good shit. This is bizarre, man.
Now I'm trying to think who's got more like.
No, it's got to be Lil Baby, man.
I think it's Jack Harlow.
I mean, dude, like
NBA specific clout.
Like, no, dude.
Ben and Tyler Herro are best friends. Hero.
Dude, I just think like Drip Too Hard came out, like Something to Prove came out. Like those are the kind of songs that like probably every NBA player was playing.
James Harden and Lil Baby just like being friends as Lil Baby's overall NBA clout.
I don't know. I still think like Lil Baby still has more NBA clout. We'll put out a poll. Actually, I'm very curious.
More
what people
NBA
think.
clout. Do we have any like followers that would like have any more information there?
This is bizarre. Like this looks so bad on James Harden. Like enough was being said about his play on the court, which we all know is fantastic, but like there's still kind of like that leadership thing missing. This is a bad fucking look, man. Yeah, this is a terrible. I feel so bad for.
What does this say other than like he's gone?
Trade me, yeah, like literally trade me. I don't give a shit. And like John Wall was like, yeah, he's bought in. And Steven Silas, I feel so bad for him because like from what everyone was saying, like. I think what everyone was saying was that he was a good coach, and like I don't know what he was doing in Dallas, but like everyone was really happy. What I'll say is everyone was happy with the hire, and like
it's the type of thing where it's like all you can do is read. It's like you never really know. It's like you're not unless there's like an absolute disaster of a report that comes out about some like relatively anonymous NBA assistant who gets a head coaching job. Like you really can't tell until the season starts and you actually see the way they're running a team. But because we didn't see any of these like bombshell, insert star player here hated the assistant coach.
I mean, look, Steven Silas helped with the Dallas offense, which was one of the best offenses in the league. Was fantastic. Yeah. That's a good sign. I feel bad for him because he was just like, I'm giving James, like, I'm giving him space. Like we haven't been communicating that much. But I'm giving him space. I'm letting him handle it. And then today he was like, we haven't heard from him. There's a reason he's missing. We don't know. And like, he still hasn't reported. He was supposed to report a couple of days ago, even after this whole Lil Baby thing. He still hasn't reported as of today. Like he's going to have to quarantine. Like if I'm a Rockets fan, I'm fucking pissed, dude. Like
last point here. Cause I know you got to go.
Yeah.
All right. NBA season starts the 11th. That's when
22nd.
When does preseason start?
Probably then. Like training camp started.
Let's say the 22nd for the sake of this hypothetical. Let's say the 22nd. Harden misses all of camp. Does he hold out? Does he hold out for it? Does he explicitly come and say, I'm holding out for a trade?
No, I don't think so.
I think he does. I think this going to a club with fucking Lil Baby instead of going to your like team workouts with the guy you just said you wanted the front office to trade for. That is as big a fuck you as you could possibly say without.
I don't think he said he wanted the front office to trade.
He said he'd rather play with John Wall than Russ.
How much is that really saying though? Because I don't think Russ. I don't think
you were the one who was saying last week that you don't think the front office comes to him with these deals.
No, they do, but I just think Westbrook and Harden's relationship wasn't good on the court. Westbrook clearly wasn't happy. And probably a lot of it too was just Harden being like, Harden was probably like, I want out. And Westbrook was like, well, fuck this. I'm not staying for this. And he was like, I'm out too. Like,
I think if Harden's not dealt before the regular season starts, he holds out.
Oh, that would be.
I really think so. I don't think he has any interest in playing for the Rockets anymore.
That would be wild. I mean, all his boys.
I think there's some credibility to the fact that it's not necessarily just the Rockets. It's more that he wants to go wherever the best shot at a title is.
At this point, I mean, also,
but at this point, I don't think he trusts the Rockets to get him that shot.
Yeah. I also, even besides him wanting to go where it gives him the best shot, like Morey's gone, D'Antoni's gone, doesn't have like a superstar next to him.
That's the same system he had for the last 4 years. And I feel like people like, yes, it's a business, and you want, it's a business. The NBA is a business organization. Like, they're looking to make money. Teams are looking to make money. There's still something to be said for playing in a system with people who support you for 4 years.
Yeah.
The Rockets built their organization around James Harden. Or not built it around James Harden, but like James Harden was the focal point of everything the Houston Rockets are trying to do. That's why Morey and D'Antoni had their jobs.
Yeah.
That's why they were brought in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
They're both gone. I think Harden's the third. I think Harden's the last guy to leave.
Closing remarks.
I didn't write anything out.
Logan Paul, Floyd Mayweather.
Oh my fucking God.
What like just tell me what you're thinking here. Cause like
I hate it.
Why is he doing this? Like I have no problem with Logan Paul being a boxer. Cause like from a boxing standpoint, from what I've like listened to MMA people say and like boxing people say, like he seems pretty fucking good. And like he is.
Well, I don't know if I say seems good.
Okay.
I think he's better than a guy who doesn't know how to box.
Yes, but I am trusting the opinions of like Daniel Cormier.
Probably fucking like shadow boxed in NBA locker rooms and is like, I could do it.
Well, I'm just taking like the opinion of like Daniel Cormier, who was like, I was impressed by his boxing. Like, right? Fair. That's all I'm going off of. Like, bro, I hate this. I hate this.
Bro, I hope I get to a point. I hope I get to a point where I have so much notoriety that I can get in a ring and spar with someone for 6 minutes and get like hundreds of millions of dollars for it.
I don't think you're ever gonna get there, Ben.
I don't think so either.
I hate to break it to you.
How much money do you think we could raise for like a special boxing exhibition? That's what we should have done for November. God damn it.
Not a lot. Because people would be like, bro, this is weird.
It is weird.
Like Jake Dow versus Stratton Dravanos.
That's a fight.
That's a fight right there. We're going to wrap it there. Second Floor Sports. Thanks for listening wherever you're getting your podcast. If you're watching on IGTV or if you're watching us on YouTube, of course, shout out Anchor for putting the podcast together and shout out Breaker. We will talk to you guys on Thursday. We'll have NBA stuff, NFL stuff. Should be a good week coming up as we get to the close of the NFL. We will talk to you guys then.
See ya.